Hello, welcome to Ronald Real Life. Today, I'm going over the honest financial advice, brutal honest advice that you need to hear. We all need to hear some truths that we don't like, unfortunately. And today, this is going to be one of these financial videos that we just need to hear. And no matter if we like it or not, but sometimes we just need to hear a video like this to help us reflect on why are we not doing well in our finances? Why are we not doing what we said we're going to do? Is it the economy? Is it me? Is it the people? Is it the 1%, the business owners that are not paying me a fair wage that I am behind where I am? So today, this video is going to help us to see why we are in the situation that we are financially. Let's get to the video.
Starting out with what might be a very controversial statement, but the economy is not really the issue. So to begin, let's start with the obvious. It is completely true that wages have by and large not kept pace with the cost of things, especially the cost of housing. But for most people, stagnant wages are not the cause of their financial hardships. In fact, if you look at the data, there seems to be almost no correlation between somebody's income and the level of financial stability they have. If there was a correlation there, we'd really only see lower income people struggling, but that's actually not the case at all. More than half of Americans earning over $100,000 a year claim to be living paycheck to paycheck, which is a crazy thing to think about.
Yes, and I agree because I know a couple people that make $100,000. I ain't gonna say no names. That are living paycheck to paycheck, and that is due to lack of financial education. You make a lot of money already, and I don't care if $100,000 doesn't value what it is today compared to 20 years or 30 years ago. We don't live in those times no more. That comes from financial discipline and living off living less off what you make, or as the term they say it, living below your means. And that's where we have to look. Like, the job can't pay us no more. We have to learn how to live below me. And what that extra money do, we got to invest it, put it to the side so we can grow our wealth. And that's the key, is not being taught. And that's what's not taught at schools. It's not the basic financial, learning how to write a checkbook and all that. No, because at the end of the day, we need to put that money so that money can grow for us to make us investments. So we're going to let our dollars grow for us. That's what we're trying to do. Let our dollars grow for us.
And I say this as somebody who lives in a very high cost of living area. But if you can't get by on $100,000 a year or more, something is wrong. And I get it. I know that $100,000 a year is completely different when you are young and single versus when you're trying to raise a family. I totally understand that. But if you're making six figures and you can't even pay your basic bills, there's only one reason for that. And it's that you're living beyond your means.
Yep.
And it seems that most people do, regardless of what income bracket they're in. If you're barely scraping by, but you have a $400, $500, or $800 a month car payment, you are living beyond your means.
Yep.
If you're living paycheck to paycheck,
I agree, which is ridiculous. That's like almost like a Tesla payment. Like, come on, man. Like, that is unnecessary. And if you like this video so far, hit the thumbs up button.
but you're door dashing or going out to eat multiple times a week simply because you can't be bothered to cook, you're living beyond your means. If you're subscribed to every streaming service ever, and if your Amazon order history is longer than a CVS receipt, and if you have more clothing than your closet can even hold, you, my friend, are living beyond your means.
Yes.
In theory, increasing your income always comes with the opportunity to make your life better, to make your life easier, but only if you actually know how to manage that money. Because if you don't, you'll just fall victim to lifestyle inflation and you'll be no further ahead, no matter how much money you're making. Somebody making $75,000 a year but living off of $50,000 is objectively doing way better than somebody who's making $200,000 a year but living off of $200,000 a year.
Yes, I preach, and that's why I said it's not how much you make, it's how much you keep. And that's something I have to keep reminding myself too. I have this thing where you have to make more, but reality is it's how much you keep and what you're trying to do to keep it. And maybe we need to reflect on that, how much we can keep.
Worse, living off of $250,000 a year. Because it's not really about how much money you make, it's about how much money you keep. So, sure, we could dissect the economy and all of its intricacies and how it affects everyone, but there really isn't a point if you're not willing to take personal accountability for the things that you can control. Unless you can say with full 100% honesty that you are doing everything possible to optimize every dollar that you earn, to make sure that you're living well within or even below your means in whatever way possible, that you're not overspending on things unnecessarily just because you feel like you want to. Unless you can say all of that, the economy is not the problem. You are. Okay, moving on. This next one might be a hot take, or it may not be. But it is that with very limited exception, a college degree is not worth the time or financial investment. For so long, it feels like we had this idea drilled into our heads that no matter what it is that you want to do for a living, or even if you don't know what you want to do for a living, going to college is the best decision you can make. And I beg to differ. Never was it.
Would I say it's the best decision? I would say so. There was a time that I didn't used to believe that. But as I got older and I'm seeing how the job market is and where I was trying to go into tech sales, usually they want a college degree and it's required. Yeah, there will be some cases where, you don't have to have a college degree. Some places are preferred. But at the end of the day, most jobs want to see you have a college degree. Unfortunately, especially if you want to work for these big major corporations, well known, they definitely want to see a college degree. Until that changes, I think it will change probably 10 years or 20 years from now. But at the end of the day, they're still requiring that. And that's something that is backed up from stats and data that is showing that, but it just is what it is, unfortunately. But I gotta hear her opinion. Okay.
Suggested to actually consider the potential ROI and to think about whether or not your projected income can actually justify the price of the degree.
I'm a grad student. I'm 30 years old and I made $600 last year.
Bernard, don't make fun of grad students. They just made a terrible life choice.
Never was it suggested that most industries have several possible entry points that don't involve going 5 figures into debt at 17 years old. Going to university or college was just sold as some virtuous idea that you can never go wrong when you're furthering your education. And I think it's bullshit. And not only do I think it's bullshit, but more and more, I've started to become convinced that the main purpose of high school is really just to act as a sales funnel for post-secondary institutions. Maybe that's the hot take here. I don't
I never thought about that. Comment down below. Do you agree with what she's saying or not? I'm not so sure about that, but it just depends on where you're trying to go. Now, to have a successful life, you don't need a college degree. But if you're trying to work for somebody, especially in these major corporations that most people want to work for, you got to have a college degree. There's no way around that. I'm sorry. That's just what it is. If you could disagree with my advice or not, but you'll come to find out if you don't know yet.
know, but I feel like they mostly exist just to steer kids into spending tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars on a university or college degree, regardless of whether or not they need it or even want it. There may have been a time when getting a 4-year degree was more or less a guarantee of landing a good job and having a stable future, but that's just not the case anymore. This is admittedly anecdotal, but everyone I know personally who is doing really well financially either owns their own business, works in the trades, or gradually built up skills independently over time, which ultimately allowed them to land a high-paying job, or some combination of all three of those. And most of the people I know who have a degree are either underemployed or working in a completely unrelated field that didn't even require them to get that degree in the first place. So while
Yes, and I agree with her on this one. I can say I'm in the 3 because I'm still getting my degree, finishing up my degree, because I told myself that I want to finish something that I started before. I started college and I want to finish it. Has nothing to do with the job market or anything else. But sometimes you just have personal goals that you want to achieve. And it may, especially the degree that I'm getting, business administration, I would say is not the best degree out there. It doesn't pay as well compared to engineer or law degree. But at the end of the day, when you want to get that done, you just need to get it done and not worry about it. Now, because I know for business, the reason I chose business to learn about business was for me to start a business one of these days, which kind of helped me prepare where I'm at right now, which I'm currently self-employed. Now, would I say that college degree is worth it? Yes, because it taught me the knowledge what I needed to know to get to where I'm at right now. So now I'm finishing something and learning something extra on top of it. Do I have a lot of student loan debt? Yeah, but I know I'll pay it off one of these days, and it's okay because everyone has some debt. Even your financial experts, they do. And don't believe where someone's saying they have no debt. No, that is not true. This country is run by debt.
While I'm not saying that no one should ever go to college, I'm just saying that you have to do the math and see if it actually makes sense for you to go. And remember that getting a degree is neither a guarantee nor a prerequisite to earning a high income. Speaking of which, you will never earn financial freedom while working for someone else. I hate to be the bearer.
I disagree with this one. As long as you put it, you can do that through the stock market. But I would say, in her opinion, in order to take the risk to start a business, there's a lot of risk. But you can be financially free while working for someone. And you can do that through investing in the stock market, honestly. That will be your biggest key right there. In crypto, honestly. Yeah, that will set you apart. But it's also a very risky business. So that's why I like stocks, and I'm going to say stocks. Anything I say is not financial advice. This is just my opinion because I'm not a certified financial advisor. So I can't really give you financial advice, but that's not really true.
Bearer of bad news, but if you're an employee working for a fixed wage or salary, you are never going to be paid your full actual worth, and you are most likely never going to reach financial freedom, or at least not until you're like older than dust, and that's if you're lucky. An employer's only real job is to hire staff that produces more value than they're paid. It's business 101 to understand that the less that you're paid, the more money the owner of your company gets to keep for themselves or pay out to shareholders. That means that if you need more money, you have to either beg for a raise, bust your ass in hopes of maybe getting a promotion, or switch jobs. And even if you do, at some point, your income is still going to be capped. But when you're self-employed, whether it's just a side hustle or a full-fledged business, you are in complete control of how much money you make. You get to decide what your time and labor and services are worth and set your rates accordingly. You can outsource tasks to free up more of your time, and you can scale your business to whatever size you want, meaning that your earning potential is more or less unlimited. I've said this before, and I will say it again, but I think that everybody has at least one skill that is monetizable. One thing you can do that will pay you a substantially higher rate than your day job ever will. And if your goal is to increase your income, to make your own schedule, or especially to retire early, self-employment is the most practical way to get there. One of the most common questions.
And I'm going to end the video right here. If you want to watch her video, I'll put the link down below. And yes, I agree. And this is why I chose the self-employment route, because I have more money that I can keep and make as being self-employed, because my limit is uncapped. So I can add other skills, build on, and continue to make those skills, and then save for retirement and retire early. And that's why I love self-employment. No matter what the other people say, like, oh, self-employment is bad because you're doing all the work. But if you delegate it, have some employees, it will be better. And those are those Grant Cardones, the Robert Kiyosaki's, and all that, which work for them, but it doesn't work for me. And you got to find what works for you. Don't get caught up. Listen to these big YouTubers, these Grant Cardones, these Robert Kiyosaki, and taking their advice and realizing that it ain't for you. And plus, you don't know how they got their money, how they got their start. So that's what you need to be careful of. Always question something. Don't believe anything what people say. And if you want to watch my next video where I react to financial advisors that I agree with or not, watch the video up here.